Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 27. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching. And as always, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. I always say this, and I mean it to be true. Our time is our biggest gift, and the fact that you're sharing yours with me means so much. So thanks for being here. I today am coming to you from our place in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I got to tell you, it's a gorgeous day. It's been a gorgeous weekend. Little hints of spring are in the air. It's been warmer. It's usually sunny here 98% of the time, which is such a gift. And my allergies are killing me, so that means it's the start of juniper season. So with some great comes some not so great. So if you hear me coughing today, you can thank the juniper for making that happen. Today, I wanted to talk to you, entrepreneur though, to entrepreneur, and just share a little bit with you and letting you kind of have a peek into my world. You know, I make some assumptions sometimes that you all know who I am and what I've done. And I really want to share today and have a great dialogue with you as a peer, as an entrepreneur, and have that conversation with you. You know, I've had the privilege of being an entrepreneur since 2001. I left my corporate job with Marriott Hotels and went into selling homes and loved every second of the journey to where I am today. I've launched multiple successful businesses doing what I'm going to share with you today and encouraging you to use some of these resources as well so you can have the life you want, the freedom you want, and just really live in a place of intention versus default. So first, I want to start by saying here we are, February 25th, 2024. We're 2 months into the new year. And I'm going to share with you some processes that I go through, but what I want to share are some observations. And I want you to just kind of think about what bucket you're in or where you're showing up in 2024. And what I have observed and noticed is that there's a percentage of entrepreneurs who are feeling a little bit of what happened to them in 23 is kind of hitting them now. A little more exhausted, a little burned out, a little bit of uncertainty if, we can continue, do this again, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. And that is not serving anybody well, right? That's kind of hanging on to some things that are over, and it's done. It's in the rearview mirror. And when we continue to give it a whole lot of energy and a lot of attention, we're going to get more of it. And so if you are that person who's a little stuck in 2023 or feeling, kind of, I want to say licking your wounds, and I don't mean that to be insulting, but just really taking some time to reflect upon and all of the horrible things that happened in 2023 and why you would be so tired and exhausted, I kind of want to invite you to have a 5-minute funeral and move on. And I want to talk to you about it. And I'm not dismissing the impact that 2023 had. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur as well. And I will tell you, in 2023, there were some things that came up that I haven't seen in a really long time. I started my real estate career in 2001, March 9th to be exact. And it was great until that really horrific event happened in our country on September 11th. And that was a shift in the economy. And typically, when you look at history, shifts in economy happen about every 7 years. So 2001, that happened. We recovered, we moved forward, and then boom, 2008, we had a major correction. And if you're doing the math, 7 years on to 2008 would put us to 2015, where we should have had another correction and we didn't. And we just kept going on this unrealistic trajectory. And then boom, 2022, 7 years from 2015, we had a correction. So things happen in 7-year cycles, team. And I'm not immune or exempt from them just because I'm a coach or just because I have got great skills with mindset. Stuff happens. It just does. And whether you're an entrepreneur in the real estate world, or we have the privilege of coaching amazing entrepreneurs, from New York Times bestsellers to really powerful real estate agent, real estate team leaders, to uh, folks that own their own companies in the public speaking world and consult to the movie world and Hollywood. I mean, we just have the privilege of talking to some pretty amazing entrepreneurs, and each one of them has a similar story, right? There's ebbs and flows to business. Now, for us, that here we are, I've got a really powerful question that I've been pondering for a while. 2024 is going to happen, right? And 2023 happened, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the question I really want to ask you is, are you coming at 2024 through the lens of what is 2024 going to bring? Or are you coming at it through the lens of what am I going to bring to 2024? And I think it's a really important question to ask yourself. The first is, what's 2024 going to bring to me? To me, that's passive. To me, that's a little victim-y. I'm just going to wait to see what happens. I'm going to see what 2024 delivers and just be okay with whatever, versus being really proactive and setting your sights and your beliefs that anything is possible. And this is what I'm bringing to the game. I'm bringing my best resources and tools, and I'm going to crush it in 2024. That's a more proactive, strategic, intentional approach. So I would ask yourself, where are you? Secondly, if you are fixated on what happened in 2023 and it is causing you being tired and exhausted and burned out, it's because you're holding on to that and you're giving it all your energy. What you focus on expands. And if you're focused on that, you're going to drag 2023 into 2024 and most likely have a repeat of what you experienced in 2023, because that's the space you're creating. It's the space you're creating, and it's what you're giving attention to. And if you would like a different 2024, even if you had a good 2023, if you want to have a phenomenal 2024, we got to leave 2023 in its place. Now, with that, there's a ton of lessons to be learned in 2023. For us, we always reflect quarterly, but we also do a larger reflection party at the end of the year. And we do a couple things. We really want to look at what were the wins and what were the losses, right? Or what were the wins and what were the lessons. And we look at it, right? And we strategize based around that and we move forward. We do not bring it with us. We go to it, we analyze it, and then we choose what we're going to do with it to move forward. There's a huge difference. So I'm not saying I'm ignoring what happened in 2023. I'm not. But I'm choosing what I do with it. And that, I think, is really critical for your ability to move on in 2024. I think it's really interesting how the brain works, right? Those of us in my coaching world in 2023, the majority of my clients did fine. We didn't blaze trails and necessarily surpass our goals. However, we thrived. And we were able to navigate and to pivot and do what we needed to do to continue moving forward towards our goal. And that was through strong business strategies and working on our thoughts and our beliefs. One without the other, it's going to stall you out, right? If we focus strictly on strategies in 2023, think about it. In 2023, most of us, what we have been doing for over a decade was being challenged. It wasn't getting necessarily the results at the level it was getting. We had a pause at the end of 2022. Whenever there's a disruption in the market, there's a pause because consumer confidence is rocked a little. And I don't care if you're a New York Times bestselling author that we work with, or if you are somebody who is in the real estate world, there's a pause. And it is in that moment that we have our beliefs challenged. And that's really important to realize, because all of a sudden, everything that we know and we have done is not producing at the same level that it was. It's just not. And that can create a bit of uncertainty, and it can make us start to doubt whether or not it's us, or am I going to survive this, or should I go look to do something else? Or, we come up with all kinds of stories. But the point is, we had a moment when everything that we were doing was challenged. And it caused us to have to, for the clients that I have the privilege of working with, to really lean into the belief that it's fine and that the activities are going to work. We might have had to tweak and fine tune a few things, but for the most part, our strategies were solid. And we had to trust that there was a blip in a moment where things adjusted and paused, and we kept moving through that, which allowed us to break through and continue to have success. A lot of people, when that happened, they kind of threw their hands in the air and just said, I don't know what to do. It's, whatever's happening in 2023 is happening. I don't have control over it. And to a degree, we don't. We don't have control over the economy, consumer confidence, interest, supply, demand, what happens after a worldwide pandemic, but we do have control over how we decide to show up. So again, what are you looking at 2024 as? What it's going to bring to you or what you're going to bring to it? So I mentioned I've launched several companies that are thriving, and they're thriving in different sectors and economy, right? We're all impacted by the same thing. And what I do during these times, and I want to share this with you because I'm going to encourage you to do it. If you're looking to bring your A game to 2024, this might be something that you want to do. And if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you're starting to feel a bit of a repeat of what you experienced in 2023, here it is. It's only February 25th, but I'm already starting to feel like I'm going to have a rinse and repeat year. Um, that might be okay. You might have had a great year in 23 and you're like, hey, I'll take it again. But for most of us, we always want to move the bar and do a little bit better or different. So what I do is, number one, reflect. And this is very different than dwelling in or wallowing in pity for what has happened. I just reflect on what happened, right? I meet with my team. We sit down, from marketing and sales to our coaches who are coaching other clients, to just have a conversation about, reflect what happened. And we immediately want to celebrate the wins. We look at what worked, how awesome our plan was, that strategy, we just crushed it, and we celebrate those wins and we acknowledge them. And that's really important. And then we look at our losses and our failures, because sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And so we take a moment and we move from celebrating the wins to reflecting upon our, losses, our failures, if you want to call them that, and spend some time looking at what's the lesson, right? Uh, could we have done something different? Was it out of our control? What could we do to make it different? Can I change it? Or do I just need to delete it and leave it behind? It's something that I don't have control over and I can't change. And I failed because of external. There's really nothing I can do to make it be different. And rather than experience frustration, right? Definition of insanity is to do the same thing expecting a different outcome. If it is absolutely something that is immovable, then I have to make a choice to leave it behind, or I'm going to waste a lot of energy on it. So we celebrate the wins, and then we look at the failures and the losses and the lessons. Those two things are phenomenal for helping us move forward into our upcoming year. Now, if you're doing something and you're winning, why wouldn't you want to keep doing it? You absolutely do. So we take those wins and we carry them forward. But what we'll do is also ask ourselves some really powerful questions. What made it work? What could have we done in addition to fortify or to plus this? And we spend time getting creative about ways to improve upon our win, because we want to move forward. Our company is always moving forward. I don't think that there's a neutral. I think you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. As an owner of this company, I choose for us to move forward. So we always celebrate the wins and we say, okay, awesome. Let's see what we could do to plus it and make it even better. You're just enhancing what you're doing really, really well. So we do that. And then we look at the lessons, right? And what we've learned from the failures. We delete what we can't make any impact in. We really kind of take a moment and just bless it and thank it for its lessons. And then we leave it. And we take the other learnings that we can have an impact on, and we take that and we strategize on, what are we going to do to turn and use this lesson in our favor for 2024, so that we can fortify and enhance, again, what we're already doing that's winning and what we're going to do more of. That is probably the coolest thing in the world, is when you don't accept the win for just a win. You accept the win that there's potentially more in the tank, that I can get more out of that. And we take the lesson and we figure out what that is in that lesson and what we can do to turn it into a win. And we start blending those things in together. That's what we do. Now, that's strategy. Then we also work on our beliefs, because when you do this and you celebrate the wins and you look at the failures and you get excited and you fortify and you plus and you've got everything lined up, right? It feels really good. And then you have to move into the do, which we've talked about in previous podcasts. And it's in that moment that if your beliefs aren't in alignment with what you are planning on doing, you're most likely going to fail. So the last thing we do is we create our beliefs around what we have created for our upcoming year. That is something that I have done repeatedly. I don't just wait to the end of the year. As a leader and a responsibility for clients and coaches and staff, I feel like I owe that to my people, and I do this all the time. I look at things, I want to catch things at gradually, right? There's an old saying, right? Gradually and then suddenly. I think it was Ernest Hemingway. I want to catch it at gradually. If we're repeatedly failing, I'm not going to wait to the end of the quarter. Why would I do that? So I do this all the time. Wins, lessons, fortify, plus, pivot if we need to pivot, and then reflect on my beliefs. That has been what has allowed me to succeed as an agent. In 2001, when September 11th happened, it was a really rough time for our country. And then in 2008, when we had the massive recession, depression, whatever you want to call it, happened, to survive that, and now surviving 2022, I mean, this is what I do. This is how I move forward. So, entrepreneur, I'm going to ask you to spend some time doing this. And what I want you to think about with this process, there's a great universal law that I love. I was taught by my old mentor, Diana. You know, logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. Now, I'm not saying she created that, but she brought my awareness to it. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. So if you think about this process, right, I'm going to reflect, I'm going to extract the wins, and I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to look at the wins. That's logic. Celebration is emotion. I'm going to look at the failures, logic. And then I'm going to look at what I can do to make it win, emotion. Then I fortify my business plan, which is really, really logic, right? And then the last thing I do, which is very emotion based, is I work on my beliefs. Because what we tend to do sometimes as business owners is logic ourselves to death. We just get caught up in the data. Now, there is a place for it. Data is critical for our growth forward. But if I just stick in that data logic, logic makes you think. So I might get stalled out in that space if I don't marry it to an emotion. So that's why this process has worked so well for me and for the folks that I coach. This is a process that I would invite you all to do as an entrepreneur, whether you're an author, real estate agent, consultant to the stars, movies and film, and or you just own your own business. I would really invite you to think about this. It really is the perfect marriage of business strategies and mindset. So here's what I want to make crystal clear. We coach entrepreneurs. We coach people who are looking for success. That comes with solid business strategies. You have to have those. But if we reflect on 80% of our success is created and caused by what's going on with our mindset. If we just do business strategy alone, we're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. Same thing. I can't mindset my way to success, right? It has to be woven in. I've got to take action. I got to do things. I've got to implement strategies. So this is where these two things come together. There was a book a long time ago that talked about manifestation, and I believe in that 100%. But I never ever want somebody to think, oh my gosh, if I come work with you or I come talk with you, I'm going to mindset my way to success and life is going to be sunshine and rainbows. That's not it. It's a part of it. So I really want, as an entrepreneur, I want to share with you, that's been my journey. I mean, I had a couple moments where there was opportunity to pivot and do something different because it was not easy. But it was when I started to lean into the emotion part that made it work. So, an example, right? 2022 was going along great. And then we had some major economic shifts. And a lot of people got stuck in that. Oh my God, nobody's ever going to do anything again because interest rates, credit cards, cars, houses, you name it, everything's impacted people's buying power, spending power. And we could get stuck in that logic, get stuck in that. Or I could turn it around and say, people still need to live, right? People are still going to need to maybe buy a car or a house or use money to better themselves. And I would turn that emotion around to say, that is going on. And I get to be the person to help someone experience their true freedom, which is going to bring me immense joy. I start tying it to emotion. I start moving away from just the pain logic to the emotion that I'm going to get to experience. You know, uh, this is what's happening in the economy. Consumer confidence is down, right? Or I get to be the person that shines the light for others to achieve success. And in doing so, I'm successful, which creates the opportunity for me to invest, to donate, to give more money out to my team, to my staff, to create growth for them, to experience financial freedom. You see, that's taking the data and marrying it to emotion. It's really the same thing: business strategy, mindset, thoughts, beliefs. Those two things, when they come together, is when the magic truly, truly happens. So reflect, celebrate the wins, acknowledge them, look at them. What can I do to enhance or plus them? I mean, if that worked, could I do something to make it work even better? Then move into what were my failures, right? What were my losses? What were my lessons? Look at those failures and identify if it's something you can change and fix and move forward and enhance it, or if it's something I just need to let it be and not give it any more energy or attention, because the definition of insanity is to keep doing it, expecting a different outcome, when the reality is there is nothing I can do to make that outcome different. I've got to bless it and leave it alone. But look at my other failures and learn from them and reframe those, rewrite those so they now become a win. I've now set myself up for enhancing my wins and changing my failures into potential wins. Then I tie it together with thoughts, beliefs, and mindset through assessing what are my beliefs. Here's what I believe: 2024, I'm bringing it. I'm not waiting for 2024 to bring stuff to me. I'm bringing my A game to 2024. My belief is, regardless of what's happening in the economy, regardless that it's an election year, regardless of the noise that we're going to hear, I'm bringing my A game to 2024 and I'm going to make it what I want it to be. And because I have a belief that anything is possible, and it's deeper than just what I'm saying to you, but when I really look at my beliefs, I truly believe 2024 can be whatever I desire it to be. And I get to live 2024 by intention versus default. If I am waiting to see what 2024 brings to me, or heaven forbid, I drag the crap from 2023 into 2024, I know what I'm going to get: a repeat of previous year. That's not what I'm after. Even if 2023 was a great year, I'm not after just having a repeat. I'm constantly wanting to move the bar. That doesn't always mean I want to make more money. It could mean, hey, I want to leverage more, or I want to spend more time with my family, or it could mean a lot of things. But I am not someone who lives in the status quo. Again, I think you're either moving forward or you're sliding backwards. There's no such thing as neutral. So that's what I'm choosing to believe for 2024. What are you? What are you bringing to 2024? What are you taking from 2023 and turning it into great lessons and wins? How are you enhancing and fortifying? What's your strategy to move forward? What's your belief? And you've just outlined what's possible for you in 2024. So if you're struggling a bit, it's okay. I mean, here we are, the end of the second month of 2024. And some of us are just kind of coming up from air from 2023, and you might be in that space of reflection and exhaustion. But I'm going to invite you to not give that your energy. That's dangerous. What you focus on, you get more of. So if I'm focused on the bad constantly, and I'm focused on being exhausted and tired and burnt out and not sure if I should continue doing this anymore, that's exactly what I'm going to get more of, versus focusing on the amazing possibilities that are available to all of us, regardless of what type of entrepreneur you are. We have some amazing programs. If you want to dive into this a little bit further and you want to be in a circle with people who are wanting to be successful and do bigger things, come and join us. Go to our website, rethinkcoaching.com, and take a look at our group programs. Number one, we've got 2 really powerful group programs, a 6-week sprint, which takes business and thought work and combines them together for 6 weeks, which allows you to see the magic of those 2 things together. We've had tremendous success with that every time we launch it, and clients go through it. Great results. And then we also have a monthly mastermind program where you can be in a mastermind group once a week for an hour and start learning and exchanging ideas with peers. We've had the privilege of coaching different walks of life, book writers, New York Times bestsellers, people in the movie industry, people in the public speaking world. A widget's a widget, right? And we all experience the same thing, but there's one really cool thing in common with entrepreneurs. We typically have a drive, and we are not necessarily dependent on anybody else. But when we come together and we start to exchange ideas and we create this space of possibility, great things happen. So we have a monthly mastermind program. Take a look at those 2. And then, of course, we have got our powerful one-on-one coaching. If that's the place where you are and you wanted to invest at that level, reach out to us. Best way to get a hold of me is probably on Instagram, Tony M, like Martin Caliendo. Tony M Caliendo is my Instagram handle. Tony at rethinkcoaching.com is my direct email address. You can Google me and get my cell phone information. However you want to get a hold of me, reach out. But what I want to invite you to do from entrepreneur to entrepreneur is to really get intentional about making 2024 a powerful year, leaving 2023 behind, and making that decision of what am I bringing to 2024? How am I going to own it? How am I going to make it mine, versus waiting to see what it brings to you? Thanks for being here, team. I'm super excited about what's coming up. Hey, it's only the end of February. You can change where you are if you're in that place of frustration, burnout. You've got the power to change that. And if you need some help, come and join us. We'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.